The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Wednesday, the first day of October, 2025. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, Lindos, People's Pharmacy, and a big shout out to HSBC Bermuda for ensuring that we're able to pump through the radio airwaves with these most important community conversations. I'm Jamal Hartman, and we'll have a news break from Teo Dill in a bit. How's everyone feeling? Everyone storm ready this morning? I know that folks are out there preparing for, is it Umberto and Imelda? Look, I'm not even trying that this week. You all are still making fun of me and, the body shower stuff. But looks like Bermuda is going to be experiencing some weather. So hopefully everyone is safe. Hopefully everyone, your loved ones are safe. Everything's tied down, boarded up. And, to quote the former weather director in Bermuda, if there's one place you want to be for a hurricane, it's definitely Bermuda. So again, hopefully everyone is good and safe. Alrighty, greetings everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one today as we welcome the president of the Bermuda Football Association, Mark Wade, onto the show. We're going to be discussing the state of the local game. Really looking forward to that conversation. The daily play is going to be music today. Yeah, so testing your music knowledge. Any hip hop heads out there, this one might be for you. Folks, don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. All right. Well, folks, how are you feeling today? How are you feeling? It's hump day. It's Wednesday. Hopefully that means something for all of you. It's the middle of the traditional work week. And unfortunately, we're dealing with some crazy weather. Is everyone at work today? Did everyone have to go in today? Anyone that did not go to work or is working from home? I know Teo may have some details about this in his news break, but looks like the causeway is going to be shutting down early. Some folks will be leaving work early. Some folks have been given the opportunity to work from home. Whatever it is, I just hope that everyone is safe. Excuse me. Everyone is safe and looks out for their neighbors and most vulnerable people who you may know. So safety first, as always, folks. As always, Dr. Anthony Richardson, he says he's at work, but in London, and he's sending Bermuda well wishes. Says stay safe, Bermuda. Agreed. Stay safe. Well, folks, here's your question of the morning. What are your thoughts on Guyana putting a cap on hotel pricing for locals? And do you think hotels in Bermuda should have a pricing cap for locals? Well, where did that come from? Well, I came upon an article, and the Guyana tourism minister, she is proposing a $200 per night cap on hotel rates for locals and those from the diaspora, right? Basically residents and Guyanese abroad, so that they aren't priced out when staying in their homeland. The idea is to make tourism more accessible and inclusive, right? Inclusive, not just for foreign visitors, but for nationals and expatriates as well. The proposal sits within a larger strategy creating a predictable flow of visitors, establishing an annual events calendar, and reinforcing collaboration between government and private sector players in hospitality. The minister emphasized the need to balance profitability and accessibility for long-term growth. So I come across this, right? I came across this and I was like, Bermudians have always said, oh, Bermuda's too expensive, hotels are too expensive. And I would always say, well, it's not really for you, it's for visitors. But then in another breath, I would say, well, tourism starts at home. Like you gotta, cater to the locals, especially when you have seasonal tourism like Bermuda, right? Even though Bermuda tourism will tell you they're a year-round destination, we all know that's not true, or at least they haven't been successful at proving that's true. Um, there's an opportunity here where you can cater to locals. So how could something like this benefit Bermuda, and what are some of the challenges? Well, I do believe there could be some benefits if the government of Bermuda and the Minister of Tourism and Owen Darrell looked at this. Enhanced local access and inclusion can be a good thing, for Bermudians and Bermudians of the diaspora. It could easily mean, people get to enjoy island resorts and hotels, which helps with domestic returns, staycations, and local economy circulation. Meaning, instead of people taking a trip to some other fancy place with a nice beach, their money is circulating in the economy. And we always speak about Bermudians spending their money outside of Bermuda when it comes to shopping and stuff, but we never really speak about that when it comes to vacationing. And here's why that should concern all of us. Because there was this thing Bermudians used to love to say, oh, I live where you vacation. But yet Bermudians couldn't even afford to vacation where they live. Think about that. Now, here's some other benefits. It could actually boost, right? It could boost the hospitality sector, right? It could fill rooms during those off-peak times by offering capped rates to locals that could reduce vacancy, right? It could increase revenue and make operations more stable. It can actually strengthen Bermuda's identity as a tourist destination and instill some pride. Bermudians vacationing in Bermuda. More Bermudians able to access luxury stays, fostering connections with the land and promoting internal tourism. Think about it. We live in a digital and social media era. The Bermudians are vacationing in Bermuda. And they're sharing this all over TikTok and Instagram and all of that. It actually could help Bermuda free, marketing. Stronger link between tourism and social equity. It can help address criticisms that tourism development only favors foreigners and high-income visitors, leaving locals excluded from benefits. Yeah. Because if the only people in hotels are foreigners working there and foreigners staying at the hotels, where's the Bermudian in this? If done right, a cap combined with an events calendar can give hotels a forecastable occupancy, enabling better planning and cost control. But folks, that's the good part. There is some risk. There is some risk. And I spoke to someone the other day about this. And they said, Jamal, I hope that the hoteliers in Guyana were consulted. Because I know everyone was cheering the other day about the RA trying to put a cap on the telecoms industry, or trying to tell them that they need an entry-level options for the people of Bermuda. And we're clapping, and people are saying the same for Belco. But we have to be careful when authority and governments and oversight step in the way of free enterprise. I know what we all want. We want affordable options to live. But are they always the best? So here are some challenges with what caps on hotels can do. They may face higher maintenance, right? Who's to say locals won't go and mess up the hotels? And I'm not stereotyping. Non-locals could do that. But During those off times, that's when a lot of hotels actually do some renovations and small repairs. How do we define local and diaspora status? Verifying eligibility, preventing abuse or loopholes. Tiered pricing and premium offerings. Hotels may try to shift costs to add-ons, amenities, meals, luxury services to recoup profits. If owners see lower returns from local bookings, they may not prioritize upgrades or expansions of the properties. And it must be handled carefully so as not to alienate inbound tourists. So again, the question after hearing what Guyana's doing, audience, what are your thoughts? Guyana's Minister of Tourism, if you're just tuning in, Guyana's Minister of Tourism is proposing a $200 per night cap, that's US dollars, per night cap on hotel rates for locals and basically residents of Guyana and Guyanese abroad. Would you be in favor? Like, what are your thoughts on Guyana putting a cap on hotel pricing for locals? And do you think hotels in Bermuda should have a pricing cap for locals as well? What are your thoughts on that? Dr. Anthony Richardson says it's a good idea benefiting Bermuda in the case of staycations, especially during the slow months. Indeed, indeed. Shamari Sky says, who would be targeted, Bermudian class, when the cap is considered? How low would the price have to be to make it accessible for most Bermudians? And if the cap is still not accessible, is it just another discount for the ones that already can afford? Well, I would hope, Shamari, I would hope that there would be some sort of discussion. I would hope there would be discussions between the, maybe the, what's it called? The Hotel Association, the Bermuda Tourism Authority, the government, and obviously the hotels. I think that the final say should probably be with the hotels. And I know you're all saying, seriously, the hotels business. But again, I mean, it's their businesses, right? You see how many hotels have closed versus hotels that have opened up in Bermuda. You don't want to run the risk of hotels closing, right? So again, it's a tough one, but if you're just tuning in, we're discussing in Guyana, the Minister of Tourism in Guyana has proposed a $200 per night cap on hotel rates for locals. And we're asking you, what are your thoughts on that? And do you think Bermuda should also implement a cap, a hotel rate cap, so that locals can be able to, have staycations and stay at Bermudian hotels? What are your thoughts? Dr. Anthony Richardson says, trial it and see if it works. Tweak it to make it work. Remains profitable for hotel owners. Yeah, I mean, hotels are not charities, right? I mean, they're businesses, and businesses thrive on revenue and profit, right? That's how they stay in existence. Excuse me. Sheikha Rana says, I like the idea for Bermudian nationals. I'd return home for vacation for Christmas and Easter. Yeah, I like the idea. I'm going to be honest with you. I like the idea. I think there are a few things that I like about it. One, giving Bermudians the opportunity to promote their homeland, right? So instead of taking their trips to whatever other island with a fancy hotel and beach, they can stay at their own island with a fancy hotel and beach, and also be able to share it on social media, make stories and the like, right? I think there's some positives in it. Again, I'm challenged because I do know a lot of hotels do a lot of repairs and things during the off season, so this could be complicated for them, right? WKD Lama says, too many regulations. Why should hotels provide a charity? Important. Hotels are not charities. They're not. And would the government or whoever encourages them to do this, how the airlines used to get a guarantee? Would the government offer a guarantee? It's an interesting conversation. We've got Charles H. Jeffers II. He says, exposing locals to the tourism industry should be more than staying in hotels. One of the biggest complaints Bermudians have about Bermuda is that there is nothing for visitors to do. Oh, indeed. I don't think it just stops with hotels, but I think this is part of a growing thing in Guyana with what the minister's proposing. So keep in mind, not sure if you just tuned in, Charles, but this is part of a broader plan with Guyana. The proposal sits with a larger strategy, creating a predictable flow of visitors, establishing an annual events calendar, and reinforcing collaboration between government and private sector players in hospitality. So there is a larger plan in this, but for the sake of this conversation, we're specifically speaking about the hotels. Sean Smith says, I just tuned in, but does hotel offer local rates? Excuse me, some hotels do. Some hotels actually do. They do. Shamari Sky says, I believe that there should be a cap for locals when the island is threatened by hurricanes. I mean, hurricanes usually hit during the busy time for some hotels, though. So that would be a challenge, right? Polly Rich says, sounds like a good idea to me. I love staycations as I don't like to fly if I don't need to. But hotels will most likely increase other costs in their facility. Well, again, they're not charities, right? So they may take the hotel rate down, but the food, the restaurants. Now, does that mean people are staycationing while eating their own food? Does that mean that the hotel adds on to different amenities and so on? It's a tough one. Bermuda is a very unique tourist destination. Guyana, Amanda Blakeney says, Guyana just hit it big, recently discovered oil reserves. Maybe that would fill the cap. Well, Guyana is probably one of the most well-run countries in the world. Not only did they find oil some years ago, but their food, I watched a video some months ago about Guyana's food, and they actually have more food than people. The way they produce food, they're a great example to follow as far as growth and the way that they're heading. So maybe tourism isn't they're not a bad destination to look at when it comes to what they're trying to do as far as tourism. Now, our only hope is that one day maybe Bermuda can find some oil or gold reserves underneath the volcano. I mean, crazier things have happened. Who knows? All right, folks. Question of the morning again. What are your thoughts on Guyana? Guyana's Minister of Tourism has suggested putting a cap on hotel pricing for locals, $200 per night. And also, do you think hotels in Bermuda should have a pricing cap for locals? Do you think that's a yes or no answer? Do you think that hotels in Bermuda should have a pricing cap for locals? Just a yes or no. Do you think they should have a pricing cap for locals? Yes or no? I'm weird about this. I'm weird about this. I get the point and purpose of it. It's just hard to tell private entities. So let me put it to you like this, and stick with me as I walk you through what I'm about to say. So about 20 years ago, they called him the big ticket at one point. Kevin Garnett, over 20 years ago, back in probably 99, 2000, signed a big contract with the Minnesota Timberwolves. And I think it was like around right after Michael Jordan's retirement, the NBA came up with this salary cap rule. The NFL has these salary caps as well. And I always found it strange that you would have salary caps in sport, but you wouldn't have salary caps on Wall Street. You have salary caps on sport, in which many Black athletes were finding a way out. But you wouldn't have salary caps on Wall Street, where a CEO could make 40 million and the lowest paid person in the company is on minimum wage. I don't agree with salary caps because at the end of the day, right, and it was to balance the league big cities like New York versus small cities like Oklahoma, right? Oklahoma City. And you see in the NBA, Oklahoma City won the NBA championship, but New York Knicks haven't won it since like the 70s. My point is, at the end of the day, while I understand New York's a bigger city and they may be able to pay more without a salary cap, a business that's run well will attract the right people and be able to build the success that it desires, regardless of where it is. So I don't like the idea of salary caps. I don't like the idea of that kind of oversight. So as far as government getting in the way of private entity, I think one thing all of us forget, and I think Ray Kai Emery was kind of trying to tell everyone about this. The consumer is the one who decides the value of anything. Think about it. I have a pair of jeans in my left hand, a pair of jeans in my right hand. Same pair of jeans. We put your logo on this left pair of jeans and you price it at $20. I put my logo on the right jeans and I price it at $100. The consumer decides which one is value. So as far as hotels and the like, I don't think that putting a cap on hotels is necessarily going to benefit Bermuda and Bermudians. I just don't see how it would work. I don't see how it would work. But I'm happy to be proven wrong. I'm happy to explore things and be proven wrong. Do you think hotels in Bermuda should have a pricing cap? This is your daily discussion brought to you by Titan Express and Secure, folks. Cherie Dill said no. WKD Lama said no. Sean Smith said no. Kathy Del Haywood Ming said, I would love to enjoy a reasonably priced vacation in Bermuda. I have cruised from New York City to Bermuda and enjoyed this country just as tourists do. Cap for locals is needed. Fair enough. Fair enough. I'm just not sure how it would work. You know, I look at things like this where the house always wins. How will the people? Rashida Godwin said, Colin Kaepernick did a Netflix documentary on American sports and it's ran as an enslavement plantation. Well, people would never think like that, though, Rashida, because people, they get paid millions, right? And they don't think that people who get paid millions should ever be referred to as enslaved people or the like. But again, ask yourself, why are there salary caps in major sports, especially the majority Black ones? The NFL, not even guaranteed contracts a lot of the time, but they're not salary caps on Wall Street. We don't ask these questions because we just got on with life and don't even pay attention. We just like, oh, that person's making more money than me. And that's why things really stay the same. Nicole Walker says, maybe not price caps. Some hotels already offer local rates. Perhaps offering special rates packages for locals more often would be better. Folks, that's your daily discussion brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. We're going to show them some love. Then we're going to go to the news break with Teo. Then we'll have the president of the Bermuda Football Association, Mark Wade, coming up talking about the state of local football. In the meantime, folks, whatever platform you may be streaming on, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like.
The Daily Discussion is brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. Visit TitanEXBDA.com, your leading tour and transport provider specializing in Black History tours throughout the island. And SecureBDA.com for all your property management, waste management, residential, and commercial trucking needs. Professional, punctual, and reliable service is our commitment to you.
All righty. Let's go to Teo Dill for your Daily Hour News Break.
Good morning, I'm Teo Dill, and welcome to your TDH News Break brought to you by our friends at Peoples, who have everything you need for the middle of the week, particularly when it comes to securing your prescriptions before a potentially serious storm. You can get your medicines and don't have to worry about paying for parking with Peoples, so obviously it's a good look. Now, Hurricanes Humberto and Imelda are heading our way. This is not anything to play with, and as a result, all schools island-wide will be shut down for the next couple days as a result. This from yesterday's Emergency Measures Organization press briefing, as explained by National Security Minister Michael Weeks.
Preparations for Humberto should well be underway and ideally already be complete. All preparations for Imelda must be finished by 12 noon tomorrow, Wednesday, October 1st. After that point, conditions will begin to deteriorate, and it will no longer be safe to be out and about our country. We know from experience that storms can change track at the last minute and be even more destructive than predicted.
The Bermuda Weather Service's Phil Rogers explained that despite the fact that 2 hurricanes are headed our way within a matter of hours, things could be worse.
There's an interaction between the storms, but it's more at the upper levels, called the Fujiwara effect. Typically, one becomes stronger as the other becomes weaker, typically. But Umberto's moving away. The track of Imelda is probably influenced somewhat by Umberto. So there's been some level of interaction, but there's no ability for them to combine into one big storm.
The fast approaching back-to-back impact of Hurricanes Umberto and Imelda are close to unprecedented in local history, enough so to be worth the attention and in-person visit from a meteorologist from one of the U.S.'s leading cable networks.
As a matter of fact, we have not had back-to-back hurricanes make landfall, at least since the records, from what I've done some digging. So maybe some meteorologists back there in New York City can do some digging for me, but I don't think it's ever happened. In back-to-back years, we've had a landfalling hurricane. Now, back in 2014, we had Faye and Gonzalo. Gonzalo made a direct landfall. Faye was just to the south of the island. And so that was the last time we had something to this magnitude.
Now, as you were preparing for the hurricanes yesterday and collecting your storm snacks, you may have noticed the increased cost of chocolate in the grocery stores or have read about the cocoa crisis in yesterday's Daily. Here's a short explainer as to why us chocoholics, myself most definitely included, are likely to be miserable for the foreseeable future, and why, hopefully, this crisis will resolve itself into the cacao farmers earning a more equitable piece of the chocolate production pie.
Players in the cocoa sector need to take some more responsibility for the state of the industry. For almost 90% of the cocoa from West Africa, rainforest had to be cleared. Today, cocoa is often grown on the land in monoculture. The same tree on the same land, year after year, with far-reaching consequences. But those most affected are the cocoa farmers, who are struggling with crop losses. Around 5 million small farmers produce 90% of the world's cocoa. But despite cocoa products now costing more, the farmers only get a fraction of the final price. Supermarkets and manufacturers take the largest share of the end product. Then they're followed by the processing industry. Farmers, well, they earn an average of just 6 euro cents per bar.
And weather-wise, hopefully you already know the deal and have prepped accordingly. That is, Hurricane Umberto's already begun its impact on the island, and Hurricane Imelda is fast approaching. That means today is going to be windy and wet, and tomorrow is expected to be very windy and very wet, with wind speeds maxing out close to 100 knots. So batten down the hatches, stay safe, and hopefully we'll be able to tell you how we all made out tomorrow morning. And that's your TDH News Break, brought to you by our friends at Peoples. I'm Teo Dill. Back to the show.
Thanks so much, Tay. I just want to take this moment for the audience. I want the audience to do something for me. Give a round of applause by just giving a thumbs up in the audience. Yesterday, we had a historic moment for a young Bermudian, Ralph Scott, 6'7" small forward, who on CBS Sports declared that he will be attending SEC school, the Southeastern Conference Tennessee Volunteers, to play basketball next year. That's big. That is huge. And that goes along with the amount of people Earl Baisden has shared with us recently through Island Stats, the amount of young people who have signed for football academies throughout the UK. Why do I feel the need to share this right now? And why am I asking for the audience to give a thumbs up and show love and show support to these young people? Because unfortunately, news has become so somber, especially when talking about Black men. But when you see the results of those who have families that have invested in them and supported them and communities behind them, you see how far they can go and what they can become. And I love to see it. So to the families of all of these young people, and this is not to say they're all going to be professional at what they do. but the families behind these people, the communities behind these people. I say thank you. Thank you for sharing and showing these young men that there is another way. Our country is better than what the headlines show. And if true what the police say, that there are only 200 causing havoc, let us shine a light on the more than 200 who are excelling, not just locally, but beyond Bermuda. So congratulations to Ralph Scott and the many young men who are prospering in areas of their interest. And may all of Bermuda continue to support them and their families as they strive for greatness in their chosen fields. Absolutely, Rhonda Trott. She says the vast majority of young Black males are doing well. It's a small portion that wreak havoc, especially in a small colony. Absolutely. And it's our job to highlight them. And yes, we have a job to do. We can't ignore the reality. But I will take this time, every opportunity I get, to shine a light on those who prosper. And if you know of people, put it in the comments. Put it in the comments. This show is our show. It's Bermuda's daily talk show. So let's show love, appreciation, and give thanks. Dorian says, congrats, Ralph Scott and his family. Charles H. Jeffers II says, Ralph Scott, that doesn't just happen. It doesn't. Family, community, speak to it. Congratulations, Ralph. Well done. Renee Simmons says. Kathy Rogers says, congratulations to Ralph Scott and his entire family. Indeed. Indeed. And that, hey, don't overlook. That's big, folks. All right, I've got to give you a days of the year. Let's see. Today is October 1st, isn't it? Well, let me tell you what day of the year it is for me. And do not judge me. Those who know me know the Christmas carols came on this morning. Yes, they did. Temptations ringing loud in my ears. That's right. Silent. It was going. I'm being real with you. I actually had to put it on pause prior to the show when I was doing the quality check with Mark Wade because I didn't want him judging me coming in like, what is this guy doing? So I put it on pause. But that's right. October 1st represents it's time, folks. Christmas carols were pumping this morning. All right. Anyway, folks, it's International Music Day. It's World Vegetarian Day. And it's International Coffee Day. So we have a lot of days outside of my Christmas day. So I'm going to ask you a few questions. What's your favorite genre of music for International Music Day? Your favorite genre of music. And for World Vegetarian Day, your favorite vegetable. Your favorite genre of music and your favorite vegetable. Give it to me. What you got? Dorian says, V, you are your father's child. You know my father? Well, yeah, he's probably been playing his Christmas tunes since July. But audiences, World Music Day, let us know your favorite genre of music. And Polly Rich says she's turning me off. No Christmas too early. All right, favorite genre of music. R&B says Kathy Hayward, Kathy Dowell Hayward, meaning jazz and carrots. Carrots, favorite vegetable. Okay. Charles is judging me, says Christmas carols on October 1st. Can we just get past Thanksgiving first? My goodness. We've got Suzanne Ingham says Christmas music and kale. All right. We've got neo soul and lofi. Lofi? Okay. Or lo-fi. We've got gospel and pumpkin, says Tanya Cheeseman. Dorian says, by you are your father's child. Yeah, don't judge us. That's right. Me and my pops are going to be bumping some Temptations. That's right. Starting October 1st. Folks, we're going to take a quick break. But after this break, we'll be back with Mark Weird. We're talking local football, and I'm looking forward to the conversation. So stick around. We'll be back in 3 minutes, 42 seconds. In the meantime, whatever platform you're on, don't turn the Christmas music on yet. Wait till after the show. But give us a like, love, follow, share the link with your friends, your family, your colleagues. We'll be back in a few.
People's ACW, located at King Edward VII Memorial Hospital, carries over-the-counter medicines, toys, cards, and even toiletries. Our knowledgeable staff are there whether you're at emergency, visiting family, or a member of BHP staff, to show you our best even when you're feeling your worst. People's ACW, we're here for you.
Take a look at our workwear for construction workers and tradesmen. Durable, stretchable in all the right places and plenty of options for tools and accessories. Paired with our wide range of tough and comfortable footwear, you can't go wrong. As you can see, Medical House really is a one-stop shop for everybody. We can't wait to see you.
See it all at our new expanded location on Bakery Lane.
Discover Drop It, your go-to grocery delivery. Browse and select from a wide range of groceries, from fresh produce to daily essentials. Our friendly drivers deliver fresh groceries to your door fast, saving you time and hassle. With Drop It, you get fresh groceries delivered fast, so you can focus on what really matters. Drop It, freshness at your doorstep, delivered to your door with Lindo's. Why go anyplace else?
At HSBC, how we do business in our community is as important to us as what we do for our community.
HSBC is the sole sponsor of our ICANN extended program for year 3 and 4 students. This has allowed us to expand our ICANN math program to younger students. This is helping us meet our goal to provide early intervention services for the children who need it the most.
I'm excited that we're able to offer tutoring to the younger students. For years, there's been a cry for that, and we work primarily on the foundational math skills. We are most grateful to HSBC for the contribution that they've made. They've made this program possible, and we cannot thank them enough.
Thank you to all of the charities, corporate partners, and HSBC volunteers for your commitment to our community.
SCAR stands for Saving Children and Revealing Secrets, and we are a Bermuda nonprofit organization whose mission is to reduce the risk of child sexual abuse and to be an advocate and a voice for children who've been sexually molested, as well as their affected family. New media like the Daily Hour is really important in partnering with organizations like SCARS. It's another platform for us for awareness. There can be no radio silence as it relates to child sexual abuse, and we need as many initiatives as we can get. We need to keep this message alive. In terms of us and the work that we do, live engagement is good because it allows the audience to ask questions, to make comments, even to provide us with encouragement and support. What I love about the live engagement when Scars is being interviewed by Jamel is just this feeling of safety, this feeling that he gets it. He cares about children. It's a connection.
Alrighty, welcome back to the big show. Jamel Hartman here. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, Lindo's, People's Pharmacy, and a big shout out to HSBC Bermuda for ensuring that we can pump through the radio airwaves with these most important community conversations. Folks, do not forget, subscribe on our website, follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. It is October 1st, and you know for the last 4 years, every October we sent out our survey. A survey which you all have done great and filled out. And keep in mind, 90-something% of the things we do on this show are not my idea. We get feedback from you. Your feedback is critical to how we engage, how we move forward. So when that survey comes out, please, we'll bribe you as well. You'll get a chance to win a few things. I think you're going to have a chance to win a few prizes this year, but don't do it because of that. Do it because you want to be a part of the conversations that are changing the way we live. All right. So keep in mind, it's October. The survey will be out later this month. So fill it out. Help us gauge where you're at, what you want to discuss, and how we can move forward to ensure that we're continuing to have the important conversations that you all want to be a part of. All right. Without further ado, well, let's go through these comments because we had we asked what your favorite genre and vegetable for World International Music Day and World Vegetarian Day, and Nicole Walker says R&B genre and broccoli and pumpkin. All right, we've got R&B. Shonette Bell doesn't like vegetables. Nope, she just loves R&B music. Daxter Smith says reggae and carrots. Okay, reggae and carrots. We've got Polly Rich, reggae and broccoli. We've got Kathy Hayward Ming says peas and carrots. All right, and Sheikah Rena is judging me, saying Mariah Carey isn't even out yet, Jamel, talking about my Christmas music. I'm not waiting on Mariah this year. She waits till after like pumpkin and all that. No. All right, without further ado, let's find out what the president of the Bermuda Football Association's favorite genre of music is and his favorite vegetable. And I'm pretty sure he's probably played a Christmas tune somewhat as well. All right, let's give a warm TDH welcome to Mark Wade. Sir, good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Loving the conversation.
So you're telling me you haven't thought to play Christmas music yet?
Just so that should be very clear. Let me declare my interest. I am a Christmas baby, so you have no argument from me.
See, this is what I'm talking about. This is how we planned it. We planned it this way. I said, bring them on October 1st. Bring it up October 1st. But I gotta ask you before we jump in the combo. So it's World Music Day and World International Music Day and World Vegetarian Day. Give us your favorite genre of music and your favorite vegetable.
To be honest, I don't have a favorite genre. I follow artists. So if it's rap, it's DMX. If it's R&B, it's any one of the boy groups, Boys to Men, etc. If it's house music, it's David Guetta or Crystal Waters. If it's reggae, it's got to be The Messenger. So yeah, I don't have a favorite genre.
Okay. You got a favorite vegetable?
I used to hate Brussels sprouts, but now I love them. So there you go.
Rudy Huxtable made me dislike them too, but they, when cooked well, yeah, they could do some things. I want to say I haven't really shared my favorite genre, but I got my start really after Radio Disney at a country radio station. And I know you're judging me under your breath, but I have an appreciation for old genres because of that experience. So I'm with President Wade here. I'm with you. But let's jump into today's conversation. Thank you so much for making time for us, especially with what's going on weather-wise in Bermuda. But as president of the BFA, from your vantage point, how would you assess the strengths and biggest challenges facing Bermuda's domestic football scene right now?
Sure. In terms of our strengths, it has to be the Appleby Youth and Children's Leagues, without a doubt. They are consistently at very high levels. The quality of football is always improving. So that has to be, without a doubt, our strengths. In terms of our weaknesses, infrastructure is certainly one of them, where our club infrastructure is, I'm not even gonna say it's aging, it's aged. And, we need to try and figure out how we can improve the club infrastructure. And the last thing, obviously, is we have to continue to be very vigilant about the violence that's in our community and how and when it may find its way into football. I think that's the other bit, sure.
Indeed, and definitely want to touch on that a bit later as well. Some people may not know that you were recently elected to the Caribbean Football Union Executive Committee. How will that role help advance Bermuda football, especially the youth development and exposure abroad that you just mentioned?
Sure. So for me, I intend on lending my voice to improving the exposure for Caribbean football. Particularly from the business side, Caribbean football is underdeveloped. It's not underfunded. I'm sorry. It's not just in Bermuda. It's right through the Caribbean, and we need to figure out how we can get businesses interested in being involved in football, and also how can we increase TV rights revenue. At the end of the day, TV rights revenue globally is what's driving football. So we need to try and do that. And obviously, we want to increase participation at the higher levels of the game. So we want more Caribbean teams in World Cup finals, whether it be boys, girls, under 17, under 20. We want to get those teams in the finals. That's got to be a regional goal of ours. And obviously off the pitch, we want to get people more involved in match operations at the World Cup level. We have a pretty good cadre of administrators involved in the game off the pitch, match commissioners, venue managers, etc. But we need to increase that, and we need to increase their experience at the higher levels, at the professional level of the game.
Indeed, indeed. Audience, if you have any questions or comments for President of the Bermuda Football Association, Mark Wade, please send your comments and questions through. We'll get through as many as possible. What steps is the BFA taking to create more pathways for young Bermudians to grow and compete at higher levels? I know that, was it this summer or last summer, the under 14s competed very well in the it was a tournament in the Caribbean. Forget the name, so forgive me. But what are some of the steps that BFA has taken to grow that?
So we're looking at growth areas. One of the growth areas is certainly in the U.S. Where can we get our players involved in U.S. academies? Right now, we can, and we do go to prep schools, and we've got players in university, but not a whole lot of them are involved in academy football or development academy football in the U.S. over the summer, or even getting players into the wider professional game. That's one growth area that we consistently look at, and we're trying to see where we can grow that area. Where we are doing very well is over in the UK, primarily because we can have a UK passport. So we have players at IDA in UK. I think it's approximately 7 there now. We have a really good relationship with AFC Bournemouth, who now come to Bermuda every year looking for the next Kenny Thompson. And we've had players go over for training experiences, and even a couple who have had trials there. And we have one who's on trial there right now. So we're going to massage that relationship, obviously, and try to increase it and improve it. Mostly through our training experiences program, where we have 3 partners that help us do that. Department of Sport and Rec, Partner Reed, The Rock, Elite Performance, and Leslie Cherry all help us to send players over to training experiences. So that's outside of the sort of educational experiences that we have through our Legend Scholarship. So those are some of the areas where we are increasing in pathways, and areas where we're going to look to try and expand. Indeed.
Awesome. And I've noticed over the years that there are more young players in these prep schools in the United States, and with Bermudians moving to the UK, more players over there. Let's bring it back to local football and the community. Our community has been rocked for years, but in recent times, using the police own words, been more dangerous in terms of accuracy as far as the violence that's taken place and deaths through murder. How do you see sport and football clubs contributing to reducing gang or violence risk in communities?
Sure. So I'm gonna look at it just ever so slightly differently. I'm gonna say that there are 3,000 individuals participating in football every weekend from September to March. I would challenge your audience to close their eyes and just imagine if there's 3,000 when we're not participating in football, what would they be doing? Our clubs work tirelessly on reducing gang violence, and they do that now through what I'm going to call add-on programs. So they're not just out playing football Tuesday and Thursday and a match on Saturday. Our clubs have other programs, after school programs. Our clubs have coaches who go and visit schools. Our clubs have their own scholarship programs, and our clubs do, monitor our kids in school. So I dare say that 200 person number at one point was 400. And I'm going to say that our clubs played a part in that.
And when you look at the recent community violence and the negative social pressures impacted, maybe club participation in terms of players not being able to go to certain grounds, player retention or match day operations, families not taking their children out to games, what strategies has the Bermuda Football Association, along with the clubs, employed to maintain the trust and safety? And I'll just be specific, and I'll put my interest out there. I'm a North Village person, and was not happy with what I saw the other night, and it happens, right? But those concerns do come across in the public and the media, and people share their opinions. But how are we employing strategies to maintain trust and safety when these things happen?
Sure. So in the background, the public may not know. We have a best back policy where we actually categorize every player and red, yellow, or green. And if a player is red, he or she is immediately banned from the sport for a year. And if a player is yellow, that player is kind of brought in, and we have a conversation about why are you yellow? Why are you seem to be recognized as being involved in antisocial behavior? That happens. It certainly happens in the background. We also have a very good relationship with the Bermuda Police Service. In all our matches are risk assessed, and if it's a high risk match, the police will assist us with a policing plan that includes that particular match. So you may have seen over the years a higher police presence at one match or another, and a lower police presence somewhere else. And I'll be direct. Our opening match at North Village was a low risk match, and you would not expect those scenes from those two teams. But I will say, knowing those two clubs and knowing the culture at those two clubs, I know that that's going to be addressed. And I think that's an important part that football plays, in that any sort of negative activity is actually going to be addressed. It's not, it's not a bar fight in town that doesn't get addressed. And that, I think, is something that the public should take some comfort in, that it's actually going to be addressed. From the BFA perspective, the file has already been passed to our disciplinary committee, and they'll be meeting soon to adjudicate over the reports that they receive. I think our clubs stand on the front lines, right? Similar to our schools, right? We stand on the front lines, and our coaches are able to talk to players in a different way than their parents and their school teachers. And I think that's a valuable avenue that we need to use even more. I would dare say that instead of walking away from football, where you heard some people say, "Oh, that's why I don't go to games," etc., etc. My view is that you should go to games. The aunties and uncles and godparents should go to games, because that one player who may or may not decide that he wants to get involved in something, or even a fan, if he knows that his family members are there, he think twice. But certainly think twice. Gosh, I thought twice. Just because my mother was in the stands, I thought twice about who I'm going to follow and how hard. But just think about. I think we should think about it that way, which is it's an avenue that we should use and use even more. But having said that, I think our issue really lies at the older levels, right? From probably about under 23 to senior, where there are some venues that are, I guess, more facilitate antisocial behavior more than others. But having said that, last year at the Friendship and Shield Finals, we had 2,000 spectators. So it's not a consistent thing. And I think generally behavior in Bermuda has taken a nosedive. Generally speaking, if you talk to school teachers today, they'll talk about the behavior of students in school. So football is a reflection of that. And as I said before, again, that we're on the front line.
But that leads to my next question about the role. Like, how do you see football shaping Bermuda's future socially, economically, and culturally?
Yeah, I think what's going to be a slow progress is our coach and club licensing programs. Club licensing, there's a bunch of criteria that clubs need to meet in order to be awarded a club license. Some of them are from a business standpoint, just tightening up our administration. And then coach licensing is not just improving the game between the white lines, but off the field as well. The coaches have to have CPR, first aid, and AED training. They also have to do some sort of child protection courses. Most do SCARS, but there are others. Those things are important, but that's not an overnight improvement that you'll see. That will kind of manifest itself later on. Slowly but surely, our clubs are and have reduced their reliance on bar revenue. I don't know if the public can, really acknowledges that, right? PHC used to operate a bar. It opened at 4 and closed at 10 every night of the week. That doesn't happen anymore. Gavin Chirac, their bar isn't open every night of the week. North Village doesn't rely on bar revenue, and so on, and that continues. That is another area. As more and more of our clubs start to take that business approach, I think you'll see some of those changes manifest themselves throughout the sport and throughout our communities.
Indeed. That's actually something I hope that people take note of, because I know many years ago, 2018, first time I started this, Maceo Dill actually was speaking about that, just saying that, there are other ways to generate revenue for clubs, after school programs, this, that, and the other. Like, we shouldn't be so relying heavily on the bar. So thank you for mentioning that. Got a couple of questions from the audience. And again, audience, I'll get through as many as possible. Those tuned in on the radio, we're speaking with the president of the Bermuda Football Association, Mark Wade. We've got Dexter Smith asking, how do you determine what is a high-risk match? Do clubs run the risk of being unfairly stereotyped?
So there are several criteria that the BPS will use along with our security team. One is who are the teams that are playing. Two is what activities have happened out in our community during the previous week. And when I say out in our community, that could be at school. It could be on a Friday night. What's happened on Friday night. So for example, after the shooting on, the other week, we convened an executive meeting very early to just discuss should we continue with the match. We got a report from BPS who were happy for us to continue just based on the teams that were playing, and also other intelligence that they had. Obviously, they're not sure of us, but that we should continue. So no teams aren't unfairly unfairly disadvantaged. I think once we do make those determinations, we just put things in place for them to be able to compete and enjoy football. I don't subscribe to the fact that anyone is disadvantaged.
All right. Sean Smith's asking, from the time you first took office until now, what has been your greatest achievement so far?
Wow. Gosh, there's been a few, and it's difficult to say what my greatest achievement is. One of the things I say is that as a coach and even as an administrator, my trophies don't sit on a shelf; they walk around on 2 feet. And I'm gonna unashamedly claim Ralph Scott because I coached him when he was 4 years old. Right, his sports journey started in football. And a few of us, kind of got emotional to see, listen, this is a kid that we had playing football, and we allowed him to go and play basketball. But if you really nailed me down, I'll start to talk about our senior man who made it to the Gold Cup for the first time in our history. I'll talk about our Island Games performances against countries who are closer to us in size and budget, where we are multiple gold medal winners. Our ladies lead the way, obviously, and our boys are close behind, but our ladies lead the way as 3-time gold medalists. Those have to be some of the things that really pop up in my mind.
Yeah. There's some accomplishments that we should be very proud of. Ralph Scott, man, I thought his family were Village fans. I thought they were Village fans. What he doing down? Come on, man. Gee. I appreciate, I did not know that. And I'm glad that I spoke about that on the day that you're here, because what I was trying to emphasize and highlight is, this is a result of family, a community, coaching. And I want to highlight more of these. And I encourage people, if you know stories of people like this, and I want to give credit to the Royal Gazette, because the Royal Gazette has literally put it out there. They have, I think, dedicated a full page to him today. So thank you. And to Earl Bears, following these young people as on their journey. So I appreciate the different mediums consistently putting them out there and trying to show the positivity happening with these athletes. And again, thank you to the communities and coaches and families. Charles A. Chefs II, he's asking, he says, I appreciate that these issues are addressed. What support does the BFA offer to clubs to avoid things even happening? Are players of all ages consistently reminded of how to act on or off the field?
So I'll take the first part, the last part of the question first, and I'll say that coaches remind players on a weekly basis about their behavior. And I'll repeat it. Knowing Devonshire Colts and North Village's culture, their executive councils, and the coaching staff, I know that will be addressed if it hasn't been done already. In terms of what support the BFA offers, we are taking back to our club licensing again, which is has a bunch of criteria. Please don't ask me to read it all off, because I don't remember it all. And our security committee is also available to all clubs to assist in securing their premises, but also developing protocols that will help them.
Indeed. Michael Daniels is asking, within the club environment, is there a requirement to keep and make available to the public accounting information?
That would depend on the constitution and bylaws of each individual club. I'm responsible for the Bermuda Football Association, and our finances sit on our website. And we encourage our clubs to do the same, but they have their own bylaws, constitution and bylaws. Some do, some make them available to partners, but I think that's really a question for club presidents.
I know we've spoken a lot about whether it was cut match and the players, and then I spoke about the spectators. We speak about things happening on the pitch. What about the spectators? Because spectators have a role to play in how things play out. How is the BFA addressing the behavior of spectators who may go overboard or interfere with what may be happening? Are there, I know you mentioned different colors for players. Is it possible? I mean, we see what happened at Liverpool earlier this season. We've seen what's happened in the U.S. sports where people are banned from grounds. How's the BFA address the behavior of spectators?
So our disciplinary procedures and protocols encompass spectators as well. Most of the time, it's the club who is held responsible for the spectators or its spectators. There have been spectators that have been banned before. And I think it's an area that we may start to, not even we will look at a little differently. There's never been a match behind closed doors in Bermuda, and that's done regularly in the international arena. And maybe that's an avenue that we need to provide to our disciplinary committee. So that's definitely an area we'll look at to expand.
Indeed. Emily Gildill's asking, are the players in the red category required to receive counseling or anger management support in addition to their 1-year suspension prior to returning?
Short answer is no, they're not required to, but it will be taken into account when they apply to re-enter the league. And it's also taken into account if they appeal that particular sanction. And the appeals committee will take that into account as well and may decide to allow them to play with conditions.
All righty. The new season just got off. We've had the first games, the group stages of the Dudley Eve, and then the league kicked off at Bernard Park last Friday. What are you most excited about for this new season, the local football season?
Well, looking at the transfers, there's been, I think there's a bit more parity across teams in the Premier Division and in the First Division a little bit. So perhaps it'll be a bit more competitive. In years gone by, there's 2 teams or 3 teams that are in contention for most trophies for over one season or another. But I see a bit of some movements that have happened, some surprise transfers. So I think it might be a bit interesting. There may be maybe 4 or 5 teams who are now competing for trophies in Bermuda. I think bringing North Village Lights online is exciting. It's exciting for the whole season to see, how North Village leverages that. You've seen already some of the things that they've done under the new president, and I know that there's some other initiatives that he has on his mind. So I'm anxious to see how that plays out over the season, but even beyond.
Indeed. One last question from the audience. Charles H. Jeffs II, he says, with so many of our young players now playing in academies, how hard is it for the BFA to keep track of these players and maintain a relationship to hopefully have them play for our national team?
It's difficult because they're everywhere. Right, in Europe, they're in the US, they're in some of them in Canada. But Maurice Lou and his team are doing a fairly good job. Not there's always room for improvement. I think they're doing a fairly good job of keeping track of them. Parents are very helpful in providing us with information as well. And we have an online system called Team Rex where we try and keep as much information as possible on each player. And when we can, we try and get out to see them.
Indeed. Just remind people, when are the next games happening for the Bermuda national team, and what can we expect?
So if you don't know, then shame on you. Bermuda played the Soca Warriors from Trinidad on October the 10th. It is our 3rd match in World Cup qualifying in the final round. You should expect our team to look to bounce back. They'll come into camp on Sunday as they prepare for our match, and we're looking forward to hosting a full stadium again. Fair warning to everyone: the grandstand only has as of yesterday morning, only has 22 tickets available as of yesterday morning. So get yourselves organized to sit in the eastern bleachers. There is still space available in the fan zone, I know. So I'm looking to see everyone out and to support our boys.
President Mark Witt, thank you so much for the conversation. Thanks for making us time for us today. Appreciate you. Stay safe throughout this crazy weather. Talk soon.
Thank you, and stay safe, everybody.
All righty. Mark Witt, president of the Bermuda Football Association. Folks, whatever platform you may be streaming on, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter X, or Instagram, make sure you give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. We're going to take our final break, come back, and we're gonna wrap it up. But I've got a daily play for you, and there's music today. I want to see how many of you know a little hippity hop. That's a genre of music.
Considering the increasing challenges faced by financial institutions, the need for insurance protection is a critical component of the risk management framework. At Friesenbrook, our priority is to safeguard your assets with the most optimal, cost-effective risk management cover to help protect your business, whether it be cyber, directors and officer liability, professional indemnity, or property insurance. Call us on 296-3600 to learn more about our full suite of competitive corporate insurance products. At Friesenbrook, we provide insurance you can count on.
Dreaming of expanding your business? With BDC's Loan Guarantee Program, we support your ambitions. Get up to 75% guarantee on bank or credit union loans up to $300,000. Just your vision and our support. Apply today and unlock new business opportunities. BDC. Bermuda business starts here.
For over 70 years, Bermuda Pest Control has been protecting homes and businesses island-wide. We offer a full suite of services, including rodent control, termite fumigation, and general insect control and maintenance. Our team of experts will quickly and efficiently eliminate any pest problem you may have. With Bermuda Pest Control, you can enjoy a pest-free home in no time. We're committed to providing fast, reliable, and solution-driven services for our customers. It's what we've been doing since 1952. Call Bermuda Pest Control today and say goodbye to pests for good.
Looking for the best care for your pets? Novazok Feed and Supply has everything you need, from top quality foods to toys and supplies. We've got it all. Join our frequent buyer program and earn rewards every time you shop. Plus, we've been awarded the Clever Customer Initiative program for helping you save more. And don't forget, we open an hour early on Saturdays so you can get a head start on your pet care. Visit us today or shop online for easy pickup or delivery. Your pets will thank you.
PALS is a cancer care charity. We started 45 years ago. What started as a charity with a half-time nurse, and basically just assisting patients going home from the hospital, but patients dying at home. We now, 45 years later, have 6 nurses, a social worker, and a palliative care physician. I know a lot of people that watch the Daily Hour every day, so it's just educational. It helps you know more about specific charities or specific organizations, and kind of get the nitty gritty as opposed to just seeing a flyer on social media or just hearing or seeing a commercial. I think it's more beneficial. Like if I'm on the radio or on TV, I'm just like telling you what I think you want to know. But you might have specific questions that I can answer directly. I think it's much better having the live engagement.
Alrighty, welcome back. Thanks again to the president of the Bermuda Football Association, Mark Witt, for stopping by again, folks. If you are streaming on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter X, or Instagram. Please do us a favor, give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you share the conversation with your friends, your family, your colleagues. Thanks again to the BAC group of companies, Medical House, Lindo's, People's Pharmacy, and a big shout out to HSBC Bermuda for ensuring that we can have these community conversations with you on a regular basis. Folks, it is time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Bermuda Trivia. Bermuda Trivia will be releasing 4 new games this holiday season. 4 different products all at once this holiday season. Current editions are now available at stores throughout Bermuda. Follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter X, TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. And if you click the QR code up in the corner, that will take you to Bermuda Trivia's Instagram. You will be able to find out all 4 products that will be released in time for the holiday season. Get excited. All right. It's music today, and I told you it's hip hop. It's hip hop. All right, here we go. The Notorious B.I.G., or to some just known as Biggie, in his hit song was going back to all right, Chicarena. Everybody, Cali, there you go. Going back. All right, not Philly. It's a E, but no, it was Cali. Not Life, Charles. Yes, it was Kelly. I knew Mark Arthur C. Phillips would get. He's a hip hop head. To Kelly, yes, Donna Hall, yes, WKD Lama, Renee Simmons, yep, Shawnette Bell. It's all good. Yes, he was going back to Cali. Yes, he was. You all are good at this, man. You all are good at this. All right, folks, let's wrap it up. First off, regarding the conversation about what Guyana is doing, as far as whether Bermuda should also do the same, I'll say this much. What works for others may not always work for us, but it's always good to kind of explore what others are doing to see if it may make sense, not exactly how they're doing it, but in another way. So I would need more information. I would hope that if Bermuda ever thought to do something like this, as I believe Charles H. Jeffs II said, hopefully everyone's consulted. Because at the end of the day, I know how we feel as consumers, but I don't think, my hope is that as consumers, one day, and hopefully that day is today, we understand our power. The power is in the consumer. We're the ones that dictate and determine value. It's like the vote, right? They say the vote has power, but it only has power if we do things beyond voting day, right? We have to understand our power. And so as the consumer, we shouldn't need caps. We shouldn't need them. As far as the conversation with Mark Wade, I appreciate that he didn't shy away from anything. The violence in the game, the growth of the local game, and even areas of improvement in terms of keeping up with players in academies and spaces overseas. I think he was honest. I think, that local Bermuda football has a chance to actually make the difference our community needs in certain spaces. I appreciate learning that clubs are relying less on their bars being open. Yep, that's long overdue. And my hope is that we are able to weed out the antisocial behavior that has taken away from the game. And I'd love to see local football become what it used to be when I grew up, a family atmosphere where people can take their children and enjoy a day out or a night out. So thank you to Brother Mark Wade. All right, folks, here's your daily inspiration. I want to say this because I'm going to use Ralph Scott. He was in the IMG Academy. And as the president of the Bermuda Football Association, Mark Wade mentioned, there are so many players, young players in not just academies in the UK, but in prep schools in the US and Canada. And I want to just hopefully take what you will from this. But it's okay to leave home to explore the world beyond the only environment you know and become a better you through development, especially if it's in the best interest of your community, your family, and yourself. Folks, please do not forget. Oh, real quickly, Charles H. Jefferson II, he says, new sponsor alert, Bermuda Pest Control. Nice. Thank you for your support. Thank you for recognizing that. Yes, thank you to Bermuda Pest Control. Started with us today for the next year, as of October 1st today. So, and we have a few more. So, but we're grateful. We're thankful. And these sponsors come on board because of all of you. Without your support, we don't really have their support. So thank you all for continuing to engage and ask the questions. And that's why the survey that we do and we'll be putting out later this month, it's so important that you participate and share your feedback, because your feedback kind of determines how we engage and move forward. So thank you all for what you do. And Emily Gale Dills, it's great interview. Thank you, Mr. Wade, for all you're doing. Indeed, indeed. Folks, don't forget to subscribe on our website, thedailyhour.com. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Thanks again to our partners, the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, Lindos, People's Pharmacy, and a big shout out to HSBC Bermuda for ensuring that we're able to pump through the radio areas with these most important community conversations. As always, we appreciate you. We love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. I'm Jamal Hartman. Please do, in this weather, be safe. Check on your friends, your family, and vulnerable people you know. Make it a safe and a great day. We are is out. Peace.